Okay, I think I got that done. Okay, welcome to Lanark County Confidential. This is episode number 12 called Turkeys. Lanark County Confidential is being brought to you on the WRVO Radio Network, a division of Reno Viola Outdoors. And my name is Michael Lynch Staunton. I'm your host. Today we're talking about turkeys, or turkey hunting, because Lanark County has probably got a bunch of turkeys, and there's a lot of places to go turkey hunting. Who I have here today is I have a friend, an angler, named James Bright. Him and I have been buddies for a few years now, and we fished a local tournament series there a few years ago and did quite well. How's it going, James?
It's going fine today, Mike. Thank you.
So James is a turkey hunter. I've never really hunted turkeys. I've gone out. I've seen lots of them. I've chased them with the dogs and chased them with the four-wheelers, chased them with the cars, but I've never hunted turkeys. So I brought James along, who I don't know how many years you've been turkey hunting, but
this would be year 8.
8 years. So, well, that's way more than me. So, and what I'm going to do is, because he's got way more knowledge than I do, I'm just going to sit and ask him a question as a layman, saying, I want to go turkey hunting. So what are the things that I would need to do? Like, obviously, I need to get a license. I guess I need a license for a gun and stuff like that. And
well, first thing is, Mike, when you want to become a hunter, you need to take an Ontario or a provincial hunting exam to get a hunting license. Now in Ontario, that alone does not permit you to go out and hunt turkeys. You have to take a safety course for turkey hunting, and that is offered, you can register through the Ontario Federation of Anglers and Hunters, and they usually give you the dates, and you have to take and pass this course in which you get a certificate, and from then on you are allowed to hunt turkeys in Ontario.
So the hunting thing is so the turkey hunting, it's like a turkey hunting license then? Is separate from the hunting license?
Well, what happens is on your outdoors card it'll be annotated with a T. And what the T means is that you are in fact allowed to hunt turkey. So once you have, back when I got my license, what I had to do was I had to take it, and then when I renewed my license I had to show proof. They give you a certificate. It's a 1-day course. It's quite good. It's quite informative. It's actually a lot of fun. And after you pass that, you write a multiple choice exam. If you pass, they give you your certificate, and then you show proof to an MTO office where you would get your license, and then they give you your turkey tags from there.
Okay. So that's separate from your hunting license then?
That is separate from your hunting license. Yes.
Okay. And that's a 1-day course?
That is a 1-day course.
And can you find that? Like, is that done through the ministry type thing?
No. Interesting story is that the Ministry of Natural Resources wasn't as prevalent in reintroducing the turkey in Ontario as the Ontario Federation of Anglers and Hunters and the National Wild Turkey Federation were. It was actually through volunteers and raising funds to bring wild stock from the United States and reintroduce the eastern turkey here into Ontario, and now to spread into the province of Quebec.
Okay. So it was all done via non-profit organizations with no government interference?
Very little.
So it's probably done pretty well then, wasn't it?
Actually, it's been a great success story. It's, you can't drive anywhere now in a rural area without seeing wild turkeys in a field somewhere. Yeah. But at one point, they were nearly wiped out in the area. Yeah.
Well, they go pretty consistently through our backfield there.
I wouldn't doubt it.
To me, that's why I want to get you here one day to let's blow a few away. And
sure.
Type thing.
Should be my pleasure.
Okay, so we've got our license. We've got our turkey license.
Yes.
Obviously, I'm going to use a shotgun.
You can use a shotgun, you can use a bow, or you can use a crossbow. You cannot use a rifle in Canada. In some parts of the United States, they do allow you to hunt turkeys with a .22 caliber or rimfire caliber.
Okay. Like a .22?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Small caliber then?
Absolutely.
Okay, so it doesn't go very far, obviously?
No.
Okay. It must be pretty challenging hitting them with a crossbow or a bow or...
Well, it depends on the...
That'd be almost like Indian-like, you know?
Well, it depends on the particular arrowhead that you're using and the time of year that you're hunting. I mean, turkey hunting has evolved here in Ontario where we have 2 seasons now. We have one in the spring, which is basically traditionally the last week of April until the end of May.
So we're coming up to that.
And we're coming up to the spring hunt. And we now have a fall hunt, which is about a week.
Okay.
In the fall.
Okay.
I personally do not pay much attention to the fall hunt because it usually runs through deer season and duck season and goose season. So I'd rather spend my time chasing other game that time of year. I think that 5 weeks is enough in the spring.
Okay.
The only difference being that in the fall you're allowed to hunt either a male or a female turkey, as opposed to the spring, which is only any bearded turkey.
Oh, really?
So long as a female has a beard on her, she is fair game.
And obviously, they're going to tell you that in the
course it's explained. Yeah.
So you're only allowed to shoot the males.
In the springtime, you're only allowed to shoot bearded turkeys. The difference being is traditionally only the male turkeys, either the toms, which are the mature male adults, or the jakes, which are the young male turkeys, will have a beard on them.
Okay.
But sometimes genetic defects cause a female turkey to grow a beard, and if she has a beard, she is fair game.
Is she Greek too, or is she
what?
Is she Greek?
I have no idea.
Okay, just female turkey with a beard on it. I just had a connotation of a Greek woman. Hope I wouldn't offend any Greek women out there, but sorry. Okay, so we're going out to hunt. Okay. I guess most people use a shotgun.
A lot of people will use a shotgun, but with, like, as I said before, with the evolution of turkey hunting, there's a lot of broadheads and arrow tips that have come out. I won't get into that because that itself is a lengthy discussion. But
let's
focus on shotgun.
Yeah, because I don't think like I said, myself personally, I like to take one with a bow or something like that. But I think probably most people are going to take one shoot one with a shotgun.
I would strongly advise that if it's your first time, unless you're very good with a bow already.
Yeah.
I would.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. Unless you're really good with a bow, it's.
And if you're looking to be more humane, I would suggest going with a shotgun.
Oh, that's true too. Okay. Yeah.
If you miss, well, I'll explain it. So if we're going to be going turkey hunting for the first time, the first thing we want to do is we want to find an area where we know turkeys are.
Okay.
And usually a few weeks before the season starts, we're out scouting the area.
Yeah.
So when we're out scouting an area, we're looking for things like, obviously, footprints, visible signs of turkey, scat, feathers, and that usually gives us a good indication that we're in an area that will be prevalent with turkey come hunting season.
Okay.
Now you have to be careful because I have seen, and also from previous experience, is you get very excited in February, March time because you're starting to see large flocks that have flocked up over the winter, only to find out 2-3 weeks before the hunting season opens that they're not there anymore.
Okay.
You have to caution to people is, especially if you're getting into turkey hunting, is it may be fine and dandy that you're seeing large numbers of them in a field during February and March, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're going to be in those same areas come hunting season.
Okay, sure.
As they start to break off from their large winter flocks and they start getting into their mating flocks, they will move off to different areas.
Okay.
And in smaller numbers.
Well, from what I've seen in my area here,
yes.
All I'm seeing right now, from what I can tell from the prints, I think are males.
Okay.
Typically, come the springtime, like in actually I should say not springtime, say around June, say from June until, and even through the wintertime, I'm seeing more flocks of, I think that would be females with their young of the year. Because I'm not seeing...
It's very difficult to tell a turkey with a footprint because, as you know...
No, I'm seeing them visually.
Yeah, I would highly stress that...
Because I'm seeing the difference in height from their heads and stuff like that.
Yes.
So they're not all the same. You know what I mean? They're not all the same. And these males I actually saw them. So.
But the best way to tell if you see tracks for turkey is to look for scat, because scat will tell you if it is a male or female.
Between, just like deer differentiates between the male and the female. Okay. Absolutely. That would make sense. Okay. So, we've got our license. We've got our shotgun.
Okay.
Now, I've noticed that a lot of these shotguns are all camouflaged. Is that something that needs to be done, or is that, from what I've been told that they have quite good eyesight, so...
Well, if we take a couple of seconds here to discuss firearms, no, you don't necessarily need to have a camouflage gun. Okay. The reason a lot of people buy a camouflage gun is because turkeys have very, very good eyesight, almost on par with birds of prey.
Okay.
So, perhaps having a 12 gauge or whatever shotgun that you have with a high gloss finish on it is going to be a giveaway, because another tactic we'll get into is when we talk about how we're going to go about actually hunting a turkey. Camouflage is key with their great eyesight. So if you have a high gloss blued shotgun with a high gloss polished finish on the wood stock, if the
sun's
turns,
coming up, and
it's like flashing a mirror in a field.
Exactly.
You're giving yourself up.
Yeah.
So if you're, let's say
can you wrap tape around it or something?
I was just going to get to that. You can wrap tape around your shotgun.
Yeah.
You can also buy, not all shotguns are overpriced now. There are certain budget ones that you can get that will be a matte black finish.
Okay.
And that's just as fine too.
Okay.
But you have to make sure that you have the right choke. There are specific turkey chokes that you use for a shotgun. So if one is going out to buy a shotgun, well, you have a firearms license to begin with. You're going to check to make sure that you have a choke that you can change over to a tight pattern for turkey.
And okay, well, seeing as we're going to talk about that point, what kind of shot are you using for?
Well, for a turkey, there are specific turkey shot. It's either a number 4, a number 5, or a number 6 is a traditional shot that we use around here.
So is this a bismuth, or is this lead? This isn't lead, is it? Are you on lead?
It can be lead.
Oh, really?
It can be bismuth.
Okay.
The only time you can't use lead is when you're hunting waterfowl, so it goes into the water.
Okay.
Okay, but you can have 4, 5, 6. They're usually 3-inch to 3.5-inch shells. I've not seen 2 3/4. Power is key, because you believe it or not, taking a turkey down is hard. Their bodies are very, very protected by those feathers.
Yeah.
And you're actually going for a headshot.
Yeah.
When you scatter it. So we get into, before we head out, we want to check every year our pattern.
Okay.
So we will buy a target that has a turkey head on the target, and I usually go about 40 yards, which I find is my comfortable maximum, and I will take a shot with a turkey shot, and I'll see how many of the pellets have actually hit within the fatal zone between the head and the neck.
Yeah.
And if I don't have more than 15 shot into that area, then I know I have a problem, and I can't go to 40 yards. I need to go to 30 and try again.
Okay. So, well, that obviously that's these chokes is the same sort of thing that you're going to use for ducks and stuff like that as well too. Is that?
Yes.
Okay. So what that choke does, if people don't know about what the choke is, that concentrates the pellets coming out.
That's what it does.
Okay. So, for anybody that doesn't know what a choke is, I know what a choke is, but it's something that Homer does to Bart Simpson all the time. But okay, so obviously you don't like my jokes these days. He didn't mind them on the boat, but so we've got our area scouted out.
Yes.
We know what kind of shotgun we're going to use.
Yep.
We know what kind of pellets or what kind of ammunition we're going to use.
Yep.
Now, the next important part, I guess, is the camouflage.
Yes, camouflage is a key element when you go turkey hunting. Turkeys, as I mentioned before, turkeys have extremely good eyesight and extremely good sense of hearing.
Okay.
So it's important that one thing is that your camouflage is good. Some people use face paint to conceal their face. Others use a nylon mask.
Yeah,
I prefer using the nylon mask.
Yeah.
Movement they can see. not another little tidbit that you do learn on the turkey. Yeah, Mike's pulling one out here.
I have my nylon mask right
That's
here.
right, and it's great for keeping the mosquitoes off you, because let me tell you, they're pretty awful that time of year.
Yeah.
But most importantly is turkeys can actually see difference in ultraviolet,
So I have
meaning if your camouflage is faded or worn, they can actually see the difference in that.
Oh, really?
Yes, they can.
No kidding.
So if you have an old pair of camo pants that are grayed a bit, throw them out.
Yeah. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. You see, and that goes along with that they can see ultraviolet. There's another bird out there that can see ultraviolet really well, and that's the kestrel. And apparently, it sees the ultraviolet in mouse urine on the fields. So,
people think turkeys are pretty stupid, but I'll tell you, when you're out in the field after them, they certainly become the most intelligent animal you've ever pursued.
Well, I guess they're using senses that we don't even have, or we're not even aware of, obviously, because we just don't see in that spectrum of ultraviolet. You know what I mean? It's like bees; they see in that spectrum of ultraviolet as well. And James knows, because he's James is the guy that got me into beekeeping. So, anyways, he's getting me into a lot of trouble here. So.
I'll tell you, especially when it comes to turkey hunting, is they have phenomenal sense of hearing again and phenomenal sense of sight.
Okay.
And they're not intelligent birds necessarily, but they are extremely wary, very cautious of things. When we go out and we go turkey hunting, we get all camouflaged up, and there's lots of tools we can take with us. There's a turkey vest, which I didn't bring with me today, but it's a particular vest that has thank you. It has like a seat back on it, a cushion. It also allows you to put all of your calls and ammunition and everything close on you.
Okay.
It even has a pouch in the back for you to put your game after you've harvested a turkey.
Okay.
In the back.
Yeah.
But getting back to your point about difficulty, on the turkey course, they bring this little tidbit up to, or at least they did when I took it, is that in native lore, a true hunter, one that was truly awed everybody in the tribe, was the hunter who could harvest the wild turkey and bring it back. It was said that it was harder to harvest than the bear, than the deer, than the moose, or the caribou.
Oh, really?
It was the most difficult game to hunt.
Sort of like the muskie in fishing, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, and those drive me nuts, too.
Okay. Oh, that's interesting. I would, if you look at it from, like you say, if they have that good a hearing and that good a sight, then, then obviously they've got something up on the other animals, maybe.
They can outrun a coyote.
Well, no, I couldn't believe how quickly these things could fly, too.
Yep.
Because my huskies taken off after one, and I thought for sure she was going to get it, and they just blew me away. Like, you look at these things waddling through the field, and you think, it's a turkey. But I'm just not used to a wild turkey. I'm used to, the one that you put on your dinner table in December and stuff like that. So,
well, the taste is very similar between a wild, because they're actually not that far apart. Domestic turkeys used in the agriculture industry are very, very close related to the wild turkey.
Okay.
Now, we have 4 species, in North America. We have the eastern, which is the one we have around here. We have an Osceola turkey. And we...
Okay, just shift your butt over.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
We have a Miriam's turkey. And we have an ocellated turkey.
Okay. And what's the difference between these?
Coloration, behavior, activity.
Where they live?
And where they live.
Okay. And in Lanark, what would be, which...
It would be the eastern stock.
Okay. And are the other ones wild and they weren't eliminated, or were they reintroduced as well too?
That I don't know, because they're different and dispersed throughout the Canada and the United States.
Okay.
And then you have some that are in the rainforests, believe it or not. They fly down and gobble once, and that's the only sound they make all day.
Okay, so we're hunting them during their mating season.
Yes, in the spring.
So, okay, well, that's right. Obviously, in the spring. Okay, so in the spring we're hunting them. So in the spring we're hunting them in the mating season, and we're going after the bearded ones.
We're going after the males. Yes, primarily the males.
And we're all camouflaged up.
We're all camouflaged up.
We've got like a little hut as well too, type thing.
No,
we just
no.
there?
I usually find like a tree line.
Okay.
Or a large tree or something that will support my back.
Okay. And you just sit there up against a tree.
Yes.
And
sit up against a tree, a fence line, in some bramble or some brush, as long as I can keep myself comfortable.
Edge of a cornfield?
Yeah. As long as there's some... I wouldn't sit on a field where there's nothing behind me, like a fence. I want to blend in with the environment.
So you want brush and stuff like that behind you?
Because they're smart enough to realize there wasn't something there the day before.
Oh, okay.
Throwing a blind up against a fence line. I mean, I'm not saying it wouldn't work. I'm sure there's hunters out there who are probably listening who will say, well, it's worked for me. I have seen turkeys personally take about 2 weeks to get used to a blind setup.
So they're going through the same area and they remember what they're seeing.
Yes.
Oh, okay. That would make it a bit more difficult then. Now, but don't their hormones get them going at this time of year so they just forget all about that? Or
that would be tough to say.
Okay.
It would be case in my personal experience in the areas I've hunted. Yes, the hormones are going, but
it's not like deer that get all stupid and you know what I mean. They're
still very wary.
Okay.
I'll tell you. You usually want to set up very early in the morning before there's any sunlight.
Well, yeah, you were telling me like 3 o'clock in the morning.
Because they can see.
Okay.
I mean, they can hear you, but when it's pitch black, they probably can't see you as much. I mean, we're not saying find a roost, sit underneath it. It's just not going to happen. Okay. You'll spook them and they're gone. They'll hear you, they'll see you, and that's, I mean, your day's over at that point.
Okay. So, is there stuff that you could do before you go in? Like, as I was telling you earlier, my buddy Joe there told me to go out and caw.
Yeah.
Like a crow to get them into the area.
Well, see, there's a lot of different...
At nighttime, you know what I mean?
And a lot of people do that, especially in some of the professional hunting companies that publish videos for their calls and things. They definitely will go out and they'll do what's called shock calling or locating calling.
Okay.
So what they're trying to do is, they could be new to an area or an area they know where there's turkeys, but they want to know where they're roosting or the general area that they're in. So what they may do is they may make calls at night like an owl or a crow.
Okay.
Or, I know people who have slammed car doors and had a shock call come. And a turkey will gobble. It's more like a startle.
Just that bloop type thing?
Basically.
Okay.
It's not like a true, blood-rushing, beautiful gobble as the sun breaks. But it'll be enough to let you know, okay, well, in that general direction, there's turkey.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you hear that, if you go out and you hear that
they're staying there for the night.
That would be, and then you would go set up 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yes.
And
in that general direction.
Putting decoys up as well too?
I like to use decoys, I find that it's different as the season goes on in those 5 weeks. In the beginning, in the first week of their mating season, sometimes I'll put up a full strut male decoy.
Okay.
And if there's other larger dominant toms that are in that flock, they will actually come towards it to challenge it and fight it because they see it as it as someone who's trying to take their females.
Yeah.
End of the season or mid-season, well, usually the dominant males have done all the mating they want to do, and now whatever hens or jennies, as they're called, haven't been mated yet are kind of left to the jakes, the younger turkeys. Now, these guys have probably been beaten up pretty badly by this point by the larger toms. So when they see that big old tom decoy sitting there, they're staying away from it because they don't need another beating because they've probably had about 3 to 4 weeks of it already.
Okay. So then you would put females out.
I usually put females out the entire season.
Okay.
Sometimes I'll use one.
So you just take the male away at that point then?
Yeah.
Okay, and just have the females at that point.
I mean, some people...
So it's easy pickings for them.
Yeah, but some people like to go crazy with it. I mean, I think 1 to 3 decoys is fine.
That's what in any of the shows I ever watched, they only had
Exactly.
I don't think they had more than 4 or anything like that. So one they had like just 2, and one of them was a little flag or something like that.
Exactly. So. I wouldn't suggest using 3 of the same decoy. I mean, now decoys are usually sold in a set of 2 or 1, and it's a different position.
Okay.
And the paint jobs are really good on them. I mean, keep in mind, you're talking about an animal here that has amazing eyesight.
Okay.
Those crummy foam ones that you buy in big box stores, finish detail on them, not that great. I'm not saying they don't work. I have used them, and I have harvested turkeys with it, but I found that some of the other companies that put a lot more detail into it has been a matter of harvesting a turkey in 5 minutes or harvesting a turkey within 4 hours.
Okay. Yeah, because if it doesn't look right, obviously they're going to be more wary to it.
And that's just it.
Yeah.
I mean, you can do everything right and everything perfect. Take the day off work, whatever you want to do. Set up. They all fly down in front of you. You know, you're all excited. You think this is going to be your day. Because turkey hunting is very difficult. And you watch the flock go the opposite direction of where you are.
Okay.
That's happened many mornings.
Okay.
It's a sport that you have to truly enjoy the challenge of it. It's a bit like fishing in that you're trying to catch something. You're not pursuing it. You can't really get up and run after a turkey.
We're sort of trying to bring it into you.
You're trying to bring it into you.
Yeah. You're trying to make yourself appealable.
Yes.
Or, you know what I mean? Like it's
and these are the lures that you use.
Exactly. Now, and speaking of lures, we're going to get into calls at this point, I think, because that's probably where we're at this point. You're sitting there, the sun's starting to come up, right?
Yes.
What happens? The birds are singing, chirping around.
Normally, shortly after the sun comes up, males, if they're in the area, will start to gobble. Okay. And their gobbling is usually at certain intervals. Okay. What a lot of novice hunters I find, and certainly I did in my beginning experience, because I went 3 years without harvesting anything.
Okay.
It takes time. Sometimes you're lucky your first year. Sometimes it can take you a few years before you finally get one. I would highly suggest that if you can go out with someone who knows what they're doing, knows how to call, can give you those tidbits, makes the difference between you watching them run away or you bringing one home in the back of your truck.
That's why I'm talking to you.
Okay. So what I would say is when you start hearing the male turkeys, the toms and the trees gobble, because it'll usually be the most dominant that talks first, and it will be the most dominant female that will cackle first. Okay? A lot of new and novice hunters, and some even experienced ones when it's early season and then they're kind of got that, tom fever going on, is they start calling and calling and calling. Well, they're just waking up. They haven't hit the ground yet. So right there, you're giving yourself up, okay? They know
they're not
something.
Going to be calling first thing big time in the morning.
They can zero in on where a sound's coming from. If they're just waking up and they're just starting to gobble to kind of bring their flock, back into reality and getting ready for the day, and you're sitting there calling and calling and calling and calling and calling and calling and calling, and you're already on the ground, that's not right.
Yeah.
Okay. So you kind of busted yourself right there. Less is better. Same with goose hunting.
Okay.
You want to call geese in when they're far and lay off on the calling when they're over you.
Okay.
They know something's up when you start calling like crazy and they're above you. They will just keep flying.
Yeah. That's not a turkey. That's a desperate hunter over there.
Well, yes, exactly.
Okay.
And I mean, they don't get big by not being shot at least once or twice in their life.
Well, exactly. Yeah. So I have a bunch of calls here.
Yes.
I have one that's called the Easy Yelper by Quaker Boy.
Yep.
It's a box call.
Yep.
And once I put some more chalk in it, hopefully it'll work again. But
well, that's the thing. Majority of these calls that people buy are going to be a friction call.
Okay.
Yep. So one of the ones that you have here is one that I actually like to use a lot too, and this is called a slate or a pot call. Okay. So you'll have the pot. And if you look at it, it has a surface here. Sometimes it's made out of metal. Okay. Sometimes it's made out of plastic. And other times it's made out of slate.
Oh, okay.
The first ones were made out of slate, like a chalkboard.
Yeah.
Okay. Each have their pros and cons. I don't think I'll really get into the pros and cons of all of them. My personal preference, and again, this is just mine, I like the plastic.
Okay.
Topped ones. And the reason I like it is they still work if they get wet.
Well,
keep in mind, you're going out into the woods, okay?
Yeah.
In April, May time,
yeah.
it's going to rain.
Yeah.
Okay? So, or there's dew on the trees.
Exactly.
You know, your gloves have gotten dew on them.
Yeah.
You put this on here, you're not going to get the friction anymore because it's wet.
Okay.
Okay. Metal is great because, and this one that you have here is a metal surface, just so people listening know. They've called this one the Illuminator pot call. Okay.
Yeah.
So actually what it is you have a piece of aluminum that's been scoured to create friction.
Yeah. They gave me a little piece of sandpaper.
They give you a little piece of sandpaper. It's the same thing with the plastic ones, the same one with the slate one.
Okay.
You want to get that all nice and abrasive.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you have a chamber on the back, and this is what resonates the sound out. So
Right.
it kind of works on the same premise as a drum. And then in your other hand here, I've got a striker. Now this striker is made out of wood, and you have another one in there that's made out of plastic. Now plastic and wood will create two different sounds, and again, depending on the day and how it is, a plastic one will work if it's wet. A wood one won't work as well if it's wet.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Ideal conditions, I would use wood, and I would use metal, or I would use slate. Okay? I just like the sound more. Now, pot calls have one drawback in that I don't find they give the sound. If I know that there's
volume, then.
the volume,
Okay.
like if I know that turkeys are 2 or 3 fields over, I'm probably not going to get a good sound that I want from that call that far away.
Okay.
Now they will hear it, but to me it's a personal preference, and results wise, I've always found when I long call, I like the mouth call, and when I short call, I like to use the slate call, or I like to use a box call.
Okay.
A box call can make one hell of a good racket. We don't have one here with us, and in this room where we're recording right now, it would be too loud on the speaker.
Okay.
But that's an excellent way to just walk around the woods if you don't know where they are, and you just make, purr, cut, strutting sounds like that, and you probably will get a tom to respond.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll give a bit of a demonstration on this pot call. Usually what I do is I have it resting on my knee, and you can actually get something that you can clip these onto, and it goes around your knee, because your knees will be bent, you'll be sitting on your bum up against a tree. So you have the striker in one hand. Now what I'll do is I usually like to use this when they're about 50 yards or closer to me. Okay, and I just like to purr, so I just like to strike the striker, just pull it down. And as you can see, I'm not getting the friction as well on the metal surface.
Yeah, you got.
So it's just kind of soft female cooing noises. Now, calling itself is an art. I wouldn't say I'm a pro at it, but I've definitely called my fair share in. One thing you definitely don't want to do is, which is an alarm putt, because then you'll raise everybody's attention, and you've pretty much killed your hunting date right there. But there's nothing wrong with just a few. And again, don't go crazy. There's a tom. He's interested. He'll come in.
It's a purr.
It's a purr. It's kind of like, okay, come to me, because in nature, the male gobbles and the females go to him.
She's sort of sitting there going,
exactly. And we're trying to do the opposite. We're trying to say, okay, you come to me. And he's going to be obstinate.
She's going, I'm not really into it right now. And he's going, come on, baby, come on.
Now, some male turkeys, they're roaring. They'll come running in. It's a female. Great. That's awesome on the hunting videos. The young ones. That's awesome on the hunting videos, but usually they're a lot more wary, and they try to get you to come to them. It's easy to get a turkey to gobble. Getting them within range, that's a different story. Okay. So the next one I like, and I've freshened some up here, but I'm going to need some kind of tool to get them out, is...
use the end of that if you
use
can.
that? Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Is I got some mouth calls here. Now, these are my favorite.
The diaphragm ones.
The diaphragm calls.
Okay.
And I find that these are the best for a couple reasons. If you practice enough with them, you can control the volume on them.
Well, not only that, you don't have to have that thing sitting
something
out
in your hands, because I'll tell you, turkeys, like I said, very good
Once
eyesight.
They get close, obviously.
You want to be able to position that, your bow or your crossbow or your shotgun, and not be, dropping something on the ground making noise.
Well, not only that, they could probably see that movement.
They can.
This, you guys can't see this illuminator, but it's a shiny piece of metal.
Yeah,
it's not shiny, but it's a piece of metal that I'm gonna have to practice that too. Okay, so.
But I'll show you something neat on this diaphragm call. it's usually a couple pieces of latex that have been overlapped, okay?
Okay.
And you'll notice that they're all different. This one's got this cut, like an edge here, and some have V's cut into it. That will produce a different sound.
Okay.
Some will produce more of a rasp and a deeper one, signifying an older female turkey.
Okay.
And some will have a softer, being a younger female turkey.
Okay.
Okay, so that's why those notches are there, because they do produce a different sound. Okay,
Yeah.
so they actually have calling competitions.
Yeah, I've seen.
And
yeah.
some of these guys are really,
I have
really
a
good.
video that came with those that's pretty. You watch these guys and
So basically, you put this in your mouth, and you want to get it on the roof. Push it up. And sometimes you gotta wet it.
yeah, these are old ones. So.
I'll just flip this one over.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah.
And you get the general idea.
And then that comes in, and then you go boom.
Yeah. And you usually get... But see, the thing is people tend to overcall, too.
Okay.
I mean, you get a male turkey that'll gobble. You don't want to be quick to just...
Yeah.
every time he
Yeah.
gobbles.
Yeah.
It's... Pace that.
Well, you said something there that to me made a lot of sense, and especially because it's the beginning of the day. I could see if this was the afternoon. They've been sitting out, they've been running around all day long and everything like this. That's one thing that just clicked into me right there when you said that. This is the morning time. They're waking up.
Exactly.
They haven't been running around all day long. So to me, it makes more sense just to sit there and,
I wait until they fly out of the trees.
okay.
Okay. And once they've, come out, landed, they're on the ground, and the males start to strut, I'll gently start to call at that point.
Okay.
I will wait. Now, if it's very overcast and and it's taking a lot longer, I may do some soft calling.
Okay. Now, there's another thing. Is it better sunny days than cloudy days, or does it?
The worst days to hunt turkey, in my opinion, and as I've been told and in my experience, is when you have gale force winds out there.
Oh, yeah.
And it is pouring with rain.
Oh, well, I can see that. Sure. So bright sunny day.
Terrible day.
Bright sunny day.
Perfect.
Okay.
Lower wind. Because
They-
keep in mind, they'll rely on their sense of
They're fair, yeah,
hearing.
and they can't. The wind. It's like a lot of animals, so they don't like walking around and doing much in the wind. Yeah, it's not like a muskie.
Plus,
so.
who wants to get up at 3:00 in the morning to sit outside
in the rain and when it's crappy weather too.
Exactly.
Sure.
I mean, that's what Butterball's for at that point.
Okay, so so you've shot one now.
Yes.
Okay, we're fortunate enough to shoot one. Mm-hmm. What do you do now? You have to take this thing in to get it weighed or registered or something like that, don't you?
You used to, first thing you need to do when you harvest any animal in Ontario is you need to tag it. So you need to walk over, and on its leg you want to place the tag. So
And you get that tag with the license?
No, you have to buy your tags every year from a retailer that sells
So like
ministry
Bennett's
tags.
or something like that?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
And then you're allowed 2.
How much does the tag cost?
I'm not sure. I think it's
So you can buy as many.
definitely under $30. No,
you can
but
buy
you're
as
only
many.
allowed 2. You're only allowed 2.
Oh,
per
you're allowed
season.
to 2.
Yes,
Oh, okay.
per hunter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
For that season.
So you could get 4 in a year, basically. You could get 2 in the spring and 2 in the fall, couldn't you?
I think, yeah. Well, don't quote me because I don't do fall hunting.
Okay.
But I believe so.
Well, I'll look into it and we'll find out.
Yeah.
But, okay. So I've killed the animal.
Yes.
Or killed the bird, and I've tagged it now.
Yeah.
And now what do I do?
Well, you used to have to take them in.
Yeah, exactly.
Early stages of turkey hunting, you had to take them in. And when you took them in, they had to be registered and everything. And this was in the early stages of turkey hunting, when it was, becoming allowable again. And this was to say, okay, where are they being hunted?
Yeah, they just wanted to see how things were going along.
Exactly. How is it going?
They got stock of it, basically.
Exactly. And then they changed it to a telephone system. You had to call it in.
Oh, okay.
Okay. They still do that call-in system. It's not as heavily enforced as it was.
Okay.
I still like to do it. I still believe that it gives some great
feedback on, sure, yeah,
of how they're doing.
Yeah, yeah. So, but you don't have to.
I'm not gonna. Don't quote me on that. But it's not as heavily enforced as it once was.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. So that's pretty cool. Well, I appreciate this. I mean, and then then it's pulling the feathers off and cooking it. That must be quite the adventure too.
Well, there's lots of ways to prepare a wild turkey.
I think we can get that into that at another time.
We could. There's some fantastic ways of preserving what you've harvested.
Yeah.
I mean, I have some phenomenal mounts at home. I have a 23-pound wild turkey that I harvested with 1.25-inch spurs and
that'd be cool.
13-inch beard.
Okay.
It was a big lad.
Okay.
Big lad.
Cool. Well, what we'll do is I think we'll have you on again because it's not a time thing, but I think that's sort of another topic that we'll go into as well too.
Absolutely.
So, what I'd like to do right now is I think we're going to wrap things up, and I'd like to thank James for coming by today and
Thank you for
extolling all this knowledge that I every time we talk, he knows something I don't know, so we sort of share it back and forth type thing. So I appreciate it, and I think we're gonna end it there today, and call it a wrap on this one. Again, I'd like to thank James for coming by. I'd also like to thank Reno Viola for broadcasting Lanark County Confidential on the WRVO network. And I'd like to thank everybody for listening. We're going to do this again, but we're going to do this in the next step, which is, dressing the turkey and then finding recipes and all sorts of other stuff. And maybe we'll get into something else as well too. Maybe a little bit about muskie fishing as well on the next one. I'll have you by again, and because he's done way more muskie fishing than I have. So, and there's places in Lanark County that he's fished the head pond, which is in Lanark County, that we can have him back for as well too. So I'd like to thank everybody for listening in today. Once again, I'd like to thank James, and we'll see you next week.